Hey everybody, this is James here from Team McGillicuddy, and today I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough on how to update the firmware on your OM-D. So before we get started, the things you're going to need are a computer or a laptop that's connected to the internet. You'll need the original USB cable that came with your OM-D, and of course you'll need the camera itself. So in order to update the firmware on your camera, you're going to need a piece of software called the Olympus Updater. So to get that, you go to www.olympus.co.uk, and then you simply go down to where it says Camera and Audio. Click on Cameras, because that's what you've got a camera, and scroll across to Customer Support, and then to Help. Just leave your mouse hanging over that and these things will pop up for you, and then Firmware Updates. Just click on Firmware Updates, and there you go. Downloading the Olympus Digital Camera Updater. That's the bit of software you want, so click on the Download button, and we're updating here using a Mac, an Apple Mac, but this process is exactly the same whether you're using a Mac or a PC. So there you go, this screen tells you system requirements for Windows and a Mac, blah, 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 blah. Basically go all the way down and click accept. And that will start downloading for you, obviously using a Mac here, so download that bit of software. And tickety boom, we now have that ready to go. Once you've downloaded that bit of software, it'll come in a zip file, so you need to unzip the file, install the program. It might restart your computer, that's not unusual, that's what sometimes happens when you install new programs. And then you can double click on the icon and it brings you to the Olympus Digital Camera Updater program. From here, there's a couple of things you must do first of all. Because it's downloading the firmware from the internet, make sure that your laptop, if you're using a laptop, is plugged into the mains, because the last thing you want is for your laptop to run out of juice halfway through this, because if the installation is interrupted, you will brick the camera, and that means it's got to go back to Olympus Service Centre and be repaired, and you definitely don't want to do that. So at no point interrupt this procedure until it's absolutely finished, and I'll tell you when that's going to be. I'll show you what the camera says to tell you that it's done. Before you get started, make sure you take out your memory card if you've got one in there, and it's just good practice. I always take the lenses off my cameras when I do the firmware. If you leave the lens on, it's no problem at all. You can update the firmware for the lens at the same time, but to keep things simple, I'm just installing the firmware on the camera. The next step is to open this panel on the side of your camera, and that's where all the ports are, so that is where you plug in your USB cable. So into this slot here, there we go, tickety boo. And then at this point, you're ready to turn on your camera. There we go, and we've got a few options here. You can move up and down. The one we actually want is the one that's automatically highlighted, so you just want to click on Storage, which is saying it's accessing the storage and the memory part of your camera. And as you can see, it's told us 1 moment. It's now talking to the computer, and at this point, we click Next on the screen. So as you can see, we click Next, and then it tells us a newer version of the firmware is available. It tells us the device we've got there, E-M10 Mark II, current version 1.0, we're looking for firmware version 2.0, and it's 69 megabytes. As I said, you can leave the lens on your camera, in which case it would tell you here there's a lens attached, and it would tell you if there's firmware available, but we're keeping it simple today, so just the camera that needs updating, and there we go, we click the Update button. Once the firmware is updated, it cannot be returned to the previous version. Do you want to continue? Of course we do, because the new version is fantastic. So, we click Yes, we read diligently the license agreement, we click Agree, and there we go, updating the firmware in process. And this is the point where it says, do not connect the camera to the computer until the update is complete, and it's serious when it tells you that, because it will brick your camera, and you definitely don't want that to happen. As you can see, it's a fairly speedy process. Depending on the speed of your internet, this can be, a couple of minute job, it can be a 10-minute job, it just really just depends on the equipment you're using. And this is the point where the sort of wheel is spinning around here, telling you it's updating. At no point until I show you when it's okay should you unplug anything. This is where it might be sitting here for a couple of minutes and you'll think, wait, is that done now? Maybe I just missed a little notification or something saying it's finished. No, it will be very, very clear when this is done, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. After a few minutes, this screen will pop up and this icon will appear on the LCD screen of your camera, just reminding you not to unplug until the update is complete. And this is when you know it's finished and it's safe to unplug your camera, when your camera says, OK. If that doesn't appear on the back of your camera, do not, under any circumstances, unplug it. You will harm the camera and have to send it back to an Olympus Service Centre. So when it says OK, that's OK. And at this point, you can turn off the camera, take out the USB lead, pop the little slot back on there, and just to prove that it's worked, let's turn the camera back on. And we'll go into Menu, scroll all the way down here, click OK, scroll down to Firmware, click OK, and there we go. firmware version 2.0 for our camera body. And it really is as simple as that. Again, whether you're updating an E-M5 Mark II, an E-M10 Mark II, or an E-M1, the process is exactly the same. And whether you're using a Mac or a PC, it's exactly the same. Just go to the olympus.co.uk website, download the Olympus Updater software, install it, plug it into your camera, get it going, and as long as you don't unplug before the camera says OK, you'll be fine. So there we have it. Thanks very much for watching. James from Team McGillicuddy, give us a like, subscribe if you would do, that would be fantastic, and we're back to give you some more top tips very soon. Bye bye.